This video has been sponsored by Banggood. They sell Bluetooth earphones among other numerous products. Bluetooth FLB3 is an earphone with an HD microphone. This is the mic I currently use for gaming, music, and communication whenever I need something heavy, powerful, with a premium audio. Please try it. I have it. Check the link below to purchase and try it. Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today I'm going to show you how you can extract or create details from a foundation layout drawing like this you're seeing on the screen here, and share the same details to a site engineer or the contractor on site. Now, if I click on the screen here, you can see this, and I've pointed out a particular section where we want to extract or create the details from. So if you see, this has been pointed as the 40 by 40 centimeter RC column marked as S3 to details. So the details are not here. The details are to be created from this. So from here, you can see F3. F3 here is the footing marked green here, highlighted as green. And the S3 is now the column that is actually inside this F3. So we want to create the details for this separate. As you can see here, you cannot give all the details on the plan layout foundation, on the foundation plan layout. This has to be created elsewhere. So from this information, you're supposed to extract and give the details from that particular section. Now, exactly what you're going to do right now. Now, I'll drag this aside and create it elsewhere from here. And prior to that, let's first of all confirm the measurements for the column and the footing itself. Now I'll come to dimension here and pick linear, and I want to confirm first the measurements for the footing. So from this point to this point, we have 1.2 meters or 1200 millimeter. And if I right click and repeat the same linear dimension, I want to check the measurement from that end to this end. That is 1.1 or 1100 millimeter. Now let's check for the column. I'll come to dimension here and zoom out and check this. This will be 400 or 400 millimeter or 0.4 meters. So we want to create the details for this. Details means we want to extract elevation view for this and label and give the measurements or instructions of everything that is supposed to be done on site by contractor or the site engineer. So let me just push this aside and start giving the details right just next to this. So I'll first of all start laying out the blinding, the size of a blinding, then you come to column base, the column base, then you come to column itself. Now I just type rec on my keyboard here and enter. So once I enter that, I'm instructed just to specify a corner on my screen on AutoCAD. So I'll just click on that. Once you've clicked on that, you'll see at the bottom end here, there are two options, area, dimension, or rotation. So I'll click on the dimension here. So I'll enter my dimension for the blinding size. Now I'll type in 400 and enter that, and type in the width, which is 1300, and enter that. So if I mouse over the screen, you see the placement of my rectangle is not yet active. So if I click there, it will be anchored on that spot. So I want to create, I've created the blinding, so I want to create the column base itself. How do I do that? I want to give an offset of 100. So I'll come to on my keyboard and type O and enter. So once I enter that, I'll feed in the offset dimension. So I'll just type 100 on my keyboard and enter. So I'll mouse over this rectangular and mouse inside this rectangular and click it right there. So I've given an offset of 100, and if you can check that from the dimension here, I'll snap on that spot and snap on this spot, and we can check that all round it's 100. This side is 100, this side is 100. So this side and this side is equal, this side that, and the bottom end is equal. So let's go to the column itself. We want to create the column inside here. So I'll just go the same method, type rec and enter on my keyboard and click on just click on the screen right there. Click on the screen and pick dimension. Now I'm going to feed in the dimension, the exact dimensions of my column. Just type 400 and enter, and type 400 and enter. So I have my column in place, but we want to put it at the center of this column base. And how do we do that? We'll use some tricks. I'll put a line here and put a line here. Right click. Now I'll just pick on this. I select on that and click move and pick it right from the center here and meet that center with that center. So I'll get rid of these lines just for they're just for the guiding purposes. Now we have the blinding, and we have the column base, and we have the column itself from the top view. So from here is when we'll be able to extract the elevation from here. Now we want to lay the bars, the rebars for the footing and the column itself. And from here we want to create the rebars, the footing bars. Now I'll switch back to AutoRebar. I'll go to AutoRebar here and come to Rebar itself. Now I want to create a rebar from here. So I'll click on this spot, right on that spot, and remember we are missing one instruction. From here we're being told to specify the size of our rebar. I'll just retain it at Y20 or R20. You'll just type enter, and I'll specify where I want to start placing my rebar. I'll click on that spot and move by 200 and enter that, and come all this way and come to this section here, just closer to the end of my column base, and snap there and try to make sure everything is in line and terminate it right there. Right click and enter. So you can see the bending angle, and this one is adjustable right from this end. You can click on that end and come to rebars, and you can adjust the bending angle of these bars. I can take it to 4, but 4 would be so much big. So if I type 4 there and click OK, it will be able to adjust itself, but we can leave it on the same spot. So what do we do once we've created this? We'll just select on this, type MI on your keyboard and enter, and pick a mirror line here, and we'll mirror that on that end and click no. That's how it's done. Now we've created the vertical bars. Now we want to create the bars that runs horizontally from our view. Now I'll come to rebar here and click on the rebar. Now I'll come right from this spot here and click there, but you only click once you specify the size of your rebar. So on the screen here you can see it is 20. I'll just enter that 20. So I'll begin right from here and move all the way to that section, to that direction, and type in 200 and enter on my keyboard, and I'll move all the way to this section here up to this end, and I'll terminate it there and move right there. Make sure everything is in line with that. It's not snapping accurately, and we'll just make it on that spot. So right click and enter. So just try and drag this accurately to that spot. Just drag it to that spot. That's okay. Select it and come to keyboard and type MI and click enter. So we want to mirror this on the other end. We can mirror that and enter. So we have the top view of our rebars laid vertically and horizontally at interval of either 200 or 150 center to center, but that will come later on as we move on. Now we'll come to the column section. So from the column section we want to put the rebars inside. So how do we do that? We'll come to first of all select this and make sure it's all the lines are joined. So whenever you select, make sure everything gets selected. So make sure the lines are not selecting individually. So what we're going to do right here, we're going to come to beam section here, and we want to feed in the number of bars we want, and we want 3 bars, top and bottom, 3 there, and click OK. So once we've clicked OK, we just come and select this column, select on that, and we'll have our bars in place. So since the stirrup has been highlighted with a thicker line, and this will make this not more presentable. So what we'll just do, just match everything, select on match prop, and select on this line, and select on that line, so to make that line thinner. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add some stirrup on this column. And how do you do that? We'll come to, just type L on your keyboard and come to that spot and move to this spot here and move to this spot, come all the way to that spot and link up with that line. Right click and enter. Now again, select all these lines and make sure they are connected. Just type join on your keyboard and enter, and these lines will be joined together. So we want to place other stirrups here. So how do you do that? And to make this looks more presentable, first of all, let's do an offset of this line. Select on this, then type O, enter on your keyboard, and type 10. We want to offset with 10 millimeter outside. That's correct. So we want to get rid of this inner line. Now when we come to beam section, we select on that, and since we don't want any, we've just jumped a step. Let's first of all close that, and we want to add a rebar here and a rebar here. And how do you add that manually? You just type line, and you'll just mouse over this, you just mouse over that, and mouse over this to snap right there. Then pick one of these rebar, just pick up one of these rebar, just copy and bring it to the center of that, and bring it to the center of that, and that's it. So we want to create a stirrup for these extra bars that we've added. And since we've done an offset for our previous rectangular or rhombus to say so, and I'll come here at the beam section here and click and change this. We don't need any bars there. We change that to 0 and click OK. So when you come here, I'll just select on this, and we'll have our stirrup in place. I'll delete that and come here and type match properties, and select on this line and select on that, and we have our stirrup in place. So this is how it's done. Though it's not really looking nice, and we can just do it once again. We'll come to line here, just come to line, place on the line there, and place another one here, and place another one here, and place another one here. So since we've done everything with this line, and this one looks closer to our rebar, our stirrup, we'll just drag it slightly away from that, and that's okay. So what you want to join this, select all these lines, select on that line and type join. So these lines are have been joined together. So what we want to do, we want to just create an offset of that of 10 millimeter. So we'll enter 10 millimeter and highlight outside. To offset outside, select on that line and delete. So I'll come to line here, I'll come to beam section and select on that. So on this side we don't have any bars, we'll just change everything to 0 and click OK. So we'll come here and select on that, right click, and we can escape from that. So if you take a look, our stirrup is very thick, and we need a thin line highlight showing a stirrup. Now we'll type match properties and enter, then select this line and select on that, so it looks much better. So this is how it is done. So we want an elevation view of this. So we can have an elevation view of this on top here. So I'll come and type L for a line and just mouse over this and move all the way to somewhere there and mouse over there and terminate it right there. So we have our we've started creating an elevation view right from the bottom part of our foundation. So I'll select this and come to copy and copy that up by 100 for blinding. Right click and come to enter and just type L on your keyboard and come here and type and join that and right click and come to L and join this in that. Right click and enter. Now you can select everything and either join, type join, and then turn your keyboard, and if you mouse over this is a single component. Now we want to create the column base. Now just type L on your keyboard and just mouse over this section and move slightly up and come to that end, type click, and we want that to be 400 and we enter that. So move that way and try mouse over this and make sure they're in line and click on that and join this and that. Type TR and select on this line and trim that. Right click and enter. So that's how you can do it. So we have the blinding in place and we have the column base already coming up. Now let's go to column itself. Now we have the column right at the center here. I'll type L on my keyboard and try to mouse over this and move all the way top here. Now allow my column to stretch all the way by either 4 meter high. Right click and enter right click and enter, select on the column and come to select on the column and type MI on your keyboard, and we want to mirror this. Right click and enter and click no because you don't want to get rid of this. If you click yes, you'll get rid of this original. So we have an elevation, we have the plan view, and we have the elevation view of this plan view. So we are moving on with the details for the plan, for the layout, for the footing, and the column. Now from here, you can go ahead and do a hatch for the base. You can do a hatch for the base and give a different display and give a different scale. Give a different scale for the blinding and enter that. So we'll move up to the column base. So we want to get rid of this line here. We want to trim off this line so that we just have the base and the column on top. So let's begin first of all by laying our rebars. The bars you're seeing at the bottom end here, we can now see them on the elevation here because this column base is this one, and this one here is the blinding you're seeing here. So this is the elevation of this. Let's escape and start laying our rebar at the column base. Now I'll come to rebar here and come all the way from this end here. Before doing that, specify the size of your rebar, which is R20, and I'll enter on my keyboard here and start it right from here and move up by 200 or move up by 200. 200 is too so high, it's overlapping our periphery, our parameters. Now I'll come to rebar once again and specify the size of my rebar. I'll enter that and just come here and move that and snap it on that particular section there and move to this direction and terminate it here. And always make sure that in the same line, I'll terminate it right here, there, right click and enter. So we want a similar bar. We have top and bottom bar. So I'll type MI on my keyboard and come here and mirror that at the bottom, right click and enter. Remember, if I click yes, you see, I'll lose the original. If I click, you can see erase the source object, no. If you click yes, you will lose you'll erase the source object. The source object means the original. So if I click yes, I'll be able to lose the previous one. So let me just type Ctrl Z to bring me where I was and type MI and come and do the same thing. Right click enter and click no. So I have that in place. So I need the horizontal. I mean the vertical. I now need these bars. I want to highlight these bars. I've already highlighted this, so I want to highlight. I want to bring the elevations for these bars here. The one I've selected. So I'll only be able to see the section of it when they are cut across. So I'll come to bars here, bars section here, and once I click on the bars section, I'll need approximately 6 bars. 6 bars distributed at 200, 200 center to center. Now I'll snap on that spot. I'll begin from that spot. Specify the diameter of the bars, 20, and I'll begin it from that spot and move all the way to this spot here and click on that spot. So I'll leave it on that section. Then I'll select all these bars or this bar section and type MI and come to mirror point here and mirror everything to the bottom end here and click no. So I have my rebars in place. So what I have here, I want to start laying my column bars. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick rebar here and begin all the way from this spot. I'll begin from this spot here. After specifying the size of my rebars, I'll just type 20 and start it from that spot and move all the way to the bottom end here and give it a bend and a length of maybe 250. 250 will be okay, and right click and enter. I'll select it and type MI on my keyboard and enter that, and I want to mirror this from this point here. Right click and click no. So I have my rebars in place for the column section. So what I want to do, I want now to give some details on how the floor and the ground beam, where the ground beam will be, and we want to place the ground beam at a distance of, though this one is subject to the site condition, but I'll just lay it here. So from here, I'll just come, first of all, check the length of the dimensions of my column. I'll come here and check the dimensions of my column. This is 400. This is 400, and now we want to lay the ground beam or the plinth beam. I'll just type rec or rectangular and enter on my keyboard and select on any point on your screen and pick dimension here. And now just type 400 by 200. I just type 400, and I'll feed 200 here and enter on my screen, and that's it. Now from here, I'll be able to fix or lay my beam, my plinth beam. I'll select on this, come here and click move, and try and move it closer to this. Try place it there. Once I've placed it there, I want to give it an offset upward and just drag it up, maybe by approximately. This is subject to site condition. I'll place it right there. Now this is my ground beam and I want to feed in my rebars. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to bar section here, and I want to feed. I need 3 of that at the top and 3 of bars. Size, the diameter, I'll just give it. I'll change this to 16. Change that to 16 millimeter and click OK. So if I come over here and select on that, I'll be able to see I have my rebars in place. So I want to change the thickness of these stirrups to a thinner. I'll type match properties and I'll pick match prop here and select on that and select on this. So that will look like that. So from there, I want to start laying my details going backward. start laying my details. So from here, on top here, we want to start laying, because this is a column, and in between the columns, there will be uh, the masonry blocks. So we want, seeing the blocks will seep in moisture, and we want now to lay, to fix or lay a DPC. A DPC is a damp-proof element that obstruct the moisture from entering the masonry or the brick wall, or on the bricks and onto the floor of a building. Now, want just to put a symbol of a DPC. So I'll just come to line here and put a line here, just a small line, and be highlighted as a DPC. Now I'll just put a line, and make sure whenever you're doing this, make sure the snaps are not obstructing or interfering with the allocation of placement. Now, first of all, let me deactivate that, and I want to just place a symbol of a DPC. I'll select that line and move all the way to that section here and terminate it right there. So this is a column and there's a column next to it. So in between there will be, the gap will be filled with the masonry blocks, and at the bottom, at the top of this beam, we'll lay a DPC, a damp-proof element that will be able to block the moisture entry to the masonry bricks. Now let me escape that. So once I've done that, I'll just type LE and point at this, symbol here, and come to this section here and move all the way to that section here and put it there. So I'll come to text by typing TA and enter, and specify that, and I'll type DPC. Perfect. And I can't see, my text is very small, so just select anything, so that just select that area, so and make this bigger. Right click and come to scale. Once you've come to scale, just to make it visible prior to setting the height of the text. So I'd select on that section, though I'm not seeing the text, but I want just to make it bigger, and to make it bigger and set the height. So once I've done that, I'll come to reference here and come to any section here and try to make that text bigger. So I can see it somewhere here. Just select on it and try and bring it to a place of visibility here. Let's bring it somewhere there. Select everything once again and right click and come to scale. So once you picked on scale, select on that and come to scale. I want to scale it from that spot to this spot, and just drag it up, and you can see the text is coming slowly, and bring it somewhere there. And now from here you can play around with the height of the text. Now if you come to the height of the text, you can either give it 70. Now you can see our text in place. Just drag it and place it somewhere here. So that will be our DPC. That's how you do it. Now just type line and enter on that, and we want to highlight the structural floor level. So we will come to this section here and just place our line on that spot and drag it. Make sure your ortho mode is working, and drag it somewhere there and place it right there. So from here, let's drag this slightly away to make this look more professional, and place it right there. Though it's so big, bring it somewhere there, put that there, and type LE. Once you type LE, means a leader, and we want to point this. As a structural floor level. I'll select on that, make sure it's straight, and terminate it there. So pick this text, come to selection and drag that text here, bring it somewhere there, and now double click on this text, and feed in your instructions or your details. Just type structural structural floor level, structural floor level. That's it. That's the information we need on that section. We'll place it right there. Now we go to the next. Now on the next, we want to place, we want to show the bars that will be laid at the bottom, at the floor level prior to laying the concrete at the floor. Now let me select on that section and just pick on this. Remember the snap, and we want to offset this by 200. Offset this by 200, but you can just lay it somewhere here. Just lay it somewhere there. Perfect. All the instructions will be given on the leader. Now, once we have this, and this can be always trimmed off, just type L and cut off this, and type TR and select on that and trim that, so that we don't have so many huge lines that scares the newcomers on detailing. Now, I've selected on this. Now, what I want to do, I want first of all to close, or I don't need to close anything. I'll just close that one. I'm at the final stage. Now, we want to show the rebar arrangement at the floor. So what we do, I'll come to rebar here and feed in the number of rebars I need. I just need 4 of them, and enter on my keyboard, and I need 16 there, diameter 16, and I need that to start from this spot, and I move all the way to that spot. So I'll be able to show the rebars there. So though they're lying exactly, they're lying straight directly on the line, so I'll leave it on that spot. So from there, I'll be able to point out, just type LE, and I'll be able to point inside here, make this, I'll be able to point this like that and put it straight, though I'll rectify the arrangement of the leaders. I'll place it right there and come here and try and drag this away, or try to make this uniform with this, and make it uniform with that by dragging that way. So that one also you can drag slightly to be uniform with that, and select on it and put the text on top. So this one also, you can copy that text and place it somewhere there. So double click on this and give the details where the arrow points. So on that section, we'll just put 6 millimeter bars, 6 millimeter bars at 200 millimeter, center to center, center to center, center to center. Let me just arrange this text. Center to center in both directions, or both ways. So just type BW, both ways. So that's it on that section. So I've given the information right there. This is not looking nice. Let me just drag it slightly to that spot, and this text also to come to that spot. This should be straight enough, and this should come on top of this. Perfect. Now let's continue. We've now pointed this as a structural floor, and here as the place where the 6 millimeter bars ranged at 200 millimeter center to center both ways. Now let's go to the next level. Now I'll copy this down. I'll copy this down here. I'll select on that and bring it slightly at the bottom end here, slightly there, and copy another line right at the bottom end there, and try change this line type, right click and come to properties and come here and change the line type. We'll give it a different line type and close that. So let me first of all scale this properly, right click and come to properties, and I want to give it a different scale. I'll give it maybe 3. I'll enter. So that will mark, will represent what we want to give out here. So that will be a polythene. A polythene is another, it looks like a DPC, but it does the same job as a DPC. It also blocks the moisture from going through the floor. So this will mark this as LE. We'll point at it from this section here. We'll point it. Let me first of all disable this and point it from here, and make sure this leans towards that direction as that, and drag it aside. I'll place it somewhere there, and select this text, copy that text and place it somewhere there. So we'll double click on this and give a name to that description. So this will be 100 gauge polythene. Perfect. So the next one, we are going to highlight. We are going to give another detail here. Just copy that and drag it slightly below that. And once you've done that, just type LE on your keyboard and select on that section here, or just put it somewhere here. Perfect. Just drag it aside and try push it up perfectly well. That's the best place to be. And now from there we can feed in we can give that information as that will be. Let's copy this text down here and make sure it is in the right position. We'll place it somewhere there. Now this will be a 50mm compacted sand layer. So you just double click on that. So this will be a 50mm compacted sand layer. So that's the information on that section. So since the rebars here arranged both ways, so this will be a 100mm thick concrete slab. I'll enter that. So I'll just carry this text plus the arrow and place it somewhere there. Now I'll double click on this. Once I double click on this and give it a description, and I'll give it 100mm thick concrete slab. I'll give it on that section. So I'm going to the next step. So from there I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy that down here somewhere there. Copy that down somewhere there. Right click, and I'm going to type in the LE and just point inside, or just carry this text inside. Just copy that text inside here and point at that section. And I want to give information here. Just highlight everything here like that and we'll give it 150mm compacted hardcore. Perfect. Now we have that in place. Now we'll add another one. Copy that to the bottom end here, slightly bigger, and We can highlight this. Don't move that, just select everything here, just copy that and place it, point it right there, and that will be compacted selected. Will be compacted. Just type it right, compacted, selected backfilling. Perfect. Now we can confidently name this as our column. Just drag this and point this here. Now this one can be our column C3. This can be our column C3. Now here we want now to close this and give some hatches. So to give the hatches, we'll come to Express here and click and come to Draw and pick on that, and we want to adjust this. We come to Size, and Size will give it maybe 30 and enter, and we want to try and see whether it will work better for us. Snap on that and snap on that. It's too big, and that's why you see it's not responding. So we'll come to Expression here and pick on the draw and pick the break symbol and change the size maybe to 10 and enter. Then try and play around with it. Come to Snap and select on that and select on that and try to play around with it. Just if you drag this inside, you'll be able to see this line break, but it's too small. We'll come to Express once again and come to Draw here, pick on that. Once we've picked on that, we want to change the size to 30. So let's see whether 30 will work. We'll snap on that section here. We'll snap on that and snap on this, then right click, and that will work for us. So let's continue doing the same thing by selecting everything to that spot and select everything from here. Just make sure that this snap is active and move all the way to this bottom end and right click, and see our line break is in place. So once we are there, we want to first of all place the hatches here. So let me just type hatch, or come to apply here and pick a hatch. I'll pick on the hatch. I'll pick on the hatches here and move this, and we come to hatch circle, and I want to just compacted hardcore. I'll just click on the screen and try to make it bigger. Select on that and right click and enter that. So I have my hardcore here. So once I've done that, I'll come compacted backfilling. You can give a different hatch, and I'll come to A plus here and pick a hatch, and come to sand and try to see whether we want to place a hatch here. So this is the sand, and we want to increase the scale. We can place that, and we can make the scale smaller, or just put sand. But the scale is not working properly, so we'll just do it the normal way. Just type hatch on your keyboard on your AutoCAD and pick on that. So once you've picked on that, select on the hatch and try to play around with the scale. So you can even pick a different scale for a different hatch and make it somehow bigger for the compacted backfilling, and you can escape that. So that's that. And if we want to move ahead and add some lines on this end on this direction here where we have compacted hardcore. So compacted backfilling, we want to add another line here on this direction. We'll add a line on that side, and you come here and try to trim off that. Select on this line, select on that line, and try and get rid of that. So we'll bring this hatch on this end. We just copy this hatch to this section here. Perfect. And you can get rid of this. So either this hatch can be changed. You can change this hatch to a different one. Just scroll here and give it a different type of hatch. You can give it that and play around with the scale. Play around with the scale. Make the scale bigger. Just make the scale bigger to look like a backfill. So just press escape and just type match prop and select on that and select on this, and we'll just get rid of the line so that your work look more decent. Now I will add a double line here, just something similar to that, and try close this line and give a hatch right there, just to give a different description on this. Just type hatch and click on that. Just mouse over this and hatch that. Perfect. So this will be our ground level. Just type here and move aside and pick a text, any text from this end, and come to copy and disable the auto mode and place this text on top here as a ground floor or ground level. This will be our ground level. This will be ground level. Perfect. So that's it. And now we can come here and label this. You just come and type LE here and point at this rebar here and move up slightly, enable the auto mode and move up slightly and go to that direction and pick a text and come to copy, select that copy, disable the auto mode, place the text on that and give a description to this rebar arrangement. So this will be 5 bars, 5 Y, I'll call it Y, twisted bars, and just double click on it. I'm losing my text. Just try and make it bigger. 5Y2, 5Y20, 5Y20 times, okay, just make it smaller, times 1.2 or 1200 at 200 center to center, or you can make this smaller, this text smaller, center to center, center to center, top 2. This is top 2. Just separate this nicely. Top 2. Cover is, you can give a cover. A cover is 50 millimeter. 50 millimeter. Perfect. That's how it looks, and this is how it should be done. Just click move and bring it slightly up like that. Now we want to pick on the bottom end here. We'll select LE and select on that and select on this. Make sure you snap accurately here, and we'll move up somewhere here and make it straight and place it somewhere there. So we'll pick this text and bring it down here. Bring this text down here and give it lay some information there. So we'll double click here 5. Or you can just give it 6. Give it, though they should be the same, I'll just type 6. Y20 at 13, 1.3 at 200 center to center. This will be bottom 1. This will be bottom 1. Just type B. Make sure your B is capital. So this will be bottom 1. This will be bottom 1. So I'll click on empty screen here, and the cover remains the same. I'll click on empty screen there, and now I'll come to So these particular ones, for these particular bars, my leader will change slightly. So I'll double click on this leader and come here and change the arrow type to a different one. I'll give it that arrow, escape, and select, double click on this one and come to arrow section and try to give it a different type of arrow, and select on that and press escape. So that will be that. So I'll tap LE and try and highlight this as a blinding. I'll terminate it right there and select on that text and come to copy and place that text right there. So I'll double click on this. Once I've double clicked on that, I'll place it right there. So I'll type in 100 millimeter concrete 100 millimeter concrete blinding. That's it. Now the dimensions will come later on, and this is how it should be done. And what I'm missing here is now the stirrups. Now we want to place the stirrups here. I'll come to L and type my line and place my stirrup right there. Perfect. I'll select on it, come to copy and select it from here and give it an offset of 200. Just need a distribution of 200 center to center, and I'll copy this, select on that and copy from that spot to this spot. Perfect. Now I'll select on this 2 and copy it from this section here, take it up and take it up, take it up, take it up all the way to the top. Though we can break this line here, we can just come in the line and put a line here and put a line here at the bottom end here. I'll just bring this closer, bring it close to that spot, and we'll come to trim. We'll select these 2 lines and cut off everything and delete. So we'll want to break line here, come to express, draw, and pick break line. So break line will try to increase the size from 30 to 50. You enter on that spot and you want to put a break line here. So we have a break line right there and we have a break line here. Perfect. So we can either select everything here and drag closer like that, and also you can do the same thing here. You can type a line and select everything here, there, and select. I've created a line I don't want. I've created a different line there. Just type L on a keyboard and create a line right there. Select on that, right click and come to copy and create a line. Perfect. Now we want to drag it slightly downward so that we don't interfere with the earlier labeling. Now we want to go to TR and select on the 2 lines, and we want to get rid of this and select the 2 lines and delete and get rid of that, and come to express and pick draw and pick break line symbol. So I'll select on that, select on this, and left click on your keyboard, on your mouse, right click once again and repeat the same command and come there, connect with that, left click, and we have this in place. So there's a break line of this. So we have the foundation detail of that. So we can just put the description at the bottom end here, just disable that and place it somewhere here. So this will be footing and column details. So you can underline everything and slightly change the text height for this. You can just scale it instead of trying to run up and down to get a font height. Just making sure that it's straight. Try to scale this to make it bigger, slightly bigger, and drag it somewhere there. Place it right there. So we can place a view here, and this is a, this is the section. This is a section of this. So thanks a lot for watching, and let's meet then on the next presentation. And thanks a lot for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And bye bye, I'm Dimba. Thank you.